Welcome to Clue Me In, where we unravel the world's strangest mysteries, disappearances, unsolved crimes, and eerie cases that leave more questions than answers. I'm Liv.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Grace, here to offer my expert analysis, deep research, and absolutely bulletproof conclusions.
Every episode, Kay and I break down a mystery, and Grace reacts, theorizes, and ultimately delivers her definitive answer. So today we're covering another case from the Buckeye State. We're heading to Loveland, Ohio, where one of the strangest cryptid sightings in the Midwest took place. The legend of the Loveland Frogman.
Wait, I did an internship in Loveland and I never heard about Frogman. Are we talking like scuba gear or Kermit went rogue?
Oh, we're talking about the second one.
I already hate it.
The first known account goes back to May of 1955, and we'll be honest, the details here are a little murky. It comes from an unnamed traveling salesman who was reportedly driving down a rural stretch of road near the Little Miami River late at night.
So according to the retellings, the man saw 3 figures on the side of the road. At first he thought they were people, but as he approached, he noticed something off.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
He described them as 3 to 4 feet tall, with leathery grayish skin, webbed hands and feet, and wide frog-like faces.
I'm sorry.
Then things got really strange.
One of the creatures reportedly lifted a metallic rod or wand and sparks shot out from the end.
So my first question, is this man a reliable witness? Because this sounds like something out of Harry Potter mixed with a swamp.
Okay, so to be fair, like a few years later, there are like more credible witnesses.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get to those.
But the initial opinion is just this man seeing
This man says
3
he
creatures
found,
with
yep,
wands.
Yep, he
that look like
panicked,
frogs.
he sped off, and he told his story, and yeah.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so now here's when things get a little bit more credible. Jump to March 3rd, 1972. Loveland police officer Ray Shockey, a respected and experienced officer, was on patrol around 1 a.m. when he saw something crouched by the side of the road near the Loveland city limits.
So is this just happening again?
I mean, I don't know. He said that he thought it was a dead animal, possibly roadkill, so like he slowed his car to get a better look. And then that's when the creature stood up on 2 legs and looked directly at him.
But did it have a wand?
A wand was not mentioned this time around.
I mean, Shockey later did give a detailed report. The creature was about 3 to 4 feet tall, just like the last one, had leathery skin and a frog-like face.
Interesting.
It then leapt over a guardrail and disappeared into the nearby Little Miami River, eerily similar to the 1955 account.
So then 2 weeks later, it's actually from another officer that we hear of this again. This officer is named Mark Matthews, and he reported a very similar experience, except this time he actually shot at the creature. He claimed to have hit it, but it still escaped.
Years later, Matthews would amend his story, saying that he believed it was a huge iguana, about 3 to 3.5 feet long, missing its tail. He said he only realized this after he got a better look later on.
So an iguana, 3 to 4 feet tall, so the size of like a small child.
Right.
In Ohio, 2 weeks later in March.
Right.
That seems really
And
logical.
walking upright?
Yeah. That seems not very accurate,
Yeah,
but
yeah, right. Plus, that kind of iguana like isn't even native to Ohio, so it would have been too cold also for a tropical reptile to survive very long out there.
And like many people argue that Matthews did change his story later on due to public pressure or, ridicule. He never officially retracted his original report, just said that he thought he had maybe been mistaken.
so it was either an escaped exotic pet without a tail, or people are just really on the topic of folklore and want to keep it alive?
Yeah, I don't know. So, okay, are we ready for some theories? Like, let's go through the
Yes,
theories
let's
so you
do
can
it.
solve this case. All right, so what was the Loveland Frogman? Here are the theories. So, a misidentified animal, like an iguana or a large frog seen at night. A hoax, so like by pranksters or even just like exaggerated retellings over time. An undiscovered amphibious species native to Ohio. Or, if you're feeling bold, something not of this world.
So, to this day, there are still occasional reports, usually brief sightings, sometimes on bridges or near water, but nothing has ever been captured or proven.
That is so interesting. One of my questions was going to be if this has still happened or if it all like was just those 3 times.
Yeah, so those are the 3 like big times that people talk about, but it's definitely still a topic in the area. Like, people are always talking about it, saying that there's sightings and all that good stuff.
So what I'm hearing before I solve this case is, in my time in Loveland, I could have seen a mysterious frog iguana man, and I did not.
I know, you really missed out.
I know.
Yeah. This would have been a lot better if you had.
That would have been really, really good. And I could give my firsthand account of this iguana in the middle of winter in Ohio.
Right. All right, Grace, you've heard the story, every eerie detail, every baffling clue.
The pieces are on the table. The mystery's waiting.
So tell us, what's your theory?
What really went down in Loveland, Ohio?
Okay. So, when that guy's driving and he's telling this story, I definitely feel like he had to have been on some substance to see something waving a magic wand. But disregarding that, it's hard to believe it's a hoax because they're police officers, and why would, it's not like it's just townspeople.
True.
So, my final conclusion is that there had to have been just an exotic pet shop in Cincinnati that sold some mutant animal, but I doubt it was an iguana because there's no way that would survive in Ohio. But I think that they sold the mutant animal to a man who thought it would be fun to dress up in a trench coat and send it to the river with a sparkler.
A trench coat?
Look, if I believe in Frogman with a wand, I get to improvise.
I guess that's true, Grace. This one is a bit of a mystery stew. Real police officers with no history of making things up gave consistent reports, but there's no hard evidence beyond that.
It's not enough to call it a cryptid, but it's just weird enough that it's kind of hard to ignore.
So, I guess what? The final verdict is it's a misidentified animal with a wand? I don't know. I'm going to have to keep thinking on this one.
Thanks for joining us for another mysterious episode on Clue Me In. What do you think the Loveland Frogman really was? A hoax, a misidentification, or something stranger?
You can find us on Instagram at cluemein_podcast and let us know your theory. And if you're from Loveland, we especially want to hear from you.
And if you are Frogman, I have so many questions.
Yeah, me too. Starting with, how do you do your taxes?
We'll see you next time on
Clue Me In.
The things got really strange when one of the creatures reportedly lifted a metallic rod or wand and sparked shot from the end.
Are we sure that he was okay?
What else?
This is
Caitlin?
ridiculous so far, and I can't even. This is by far the most dysfunctional episode. Okay.